right now. All right. And we're in. If everyone can see the chat, please let me know. I didn't really post this in many places, to be honest. So that's my bad. If you guys want to go and post it in places or whatever, be my guest. But yeah, so welcome back to the next Future of NFT Gaming stream. We have a lot of really awesome topics to cover off today, including but not limited to the Axie Infinity hack, as well as some speculation on Alluvium gameplay, the private beta, and kind of what that might entail and things like that. So we're going to be discussing a lot of really interesting topics today, and I'm very excited to get into it. So as always, I have an amazing panel of guests today. Some very heavily invested people into the Illuvium ecosystem and community today. They've all provided so much value to the community already, and they're going to be providing heaps more in the future, I'm sure. So we have first time on the stream today, Vedamore. Welcome, Vedamore. So Vedamore, as you guys know, his channel's in the description. He's done a lot of Alluvium content so far. There's so much he's made for the community, and I'm sure there's plenty to come. He also got his new studio and everything recently, so he's ready to go. Let's put it that way. And he's got the pink mic cover, which stands out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, I was chatting to Andrew, like, because I just did an interview with him, and he was like, "Where the hell did you get that from? I want one." So I sent him the website. He's gonna get a blue one with a blue cable, because it's just a cute touch.
It's such a nice color, no doubt. So we also have with us today Najav Plays, who probably understands the synergies and affinities better than anyone else. He's obviously heavily into scholarships and things as well. So he has a lot of good knowledge in the crypto gaming space, and he's bringing that to Alluvium as well. And lastly, we have Kyle Wilson, who has recently become...
Yeah, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
So lastly, we have Kyle Wilson. Do you want to introduce yourself to us? You've obviously been on the channel before, but your role has changed a bit. So do you want to talk to us really briefly about that?
Yeah. So, in case, the viewers haven't heard, I'll be taking a position with Alluvium, heading up the influencer and media manager position. So if you're an influencer, definitely join the Discord and hit me up. So yeah, that's pretty much, I'm also a YouTuber as well. So I do have my own channel, my own, Twitter. And so, which none of that's financial advice. So, but if you want to follow, and tune into my shenanigans, you can do that. So thanks for having me on Scoriox, and great to be with you guys today.
No problem at all. Yeah. Kyle's Discord, not Discord, YouTube is also in the description down below. You guys can see that I woke up early this morning. It's really starting to show.
You need some coffee right here.
Yeah, definitely. And as you guys know, this has been largely helped by the Shiny Shards, which Kyle is also a part of. So definitely big shout out to them. Go check them out if you want to get involved with a lot of the other creators in the space, including myself and many others. Then definitely jump in there. We can all help you out as well. But there are so many communities in Alluvium right now, and I just want us to all be one big team, right? So that's really all that matters in the end. Okay, so we're going to jump into the first topic here. Axie Infinity has seen a major hack, and honestly, I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball at this point. It was a little while ago, and they've done a lot of things since. So should we be concerned about Alluvium? Does it risk the same thing? I think the big thing here is that Axie Infinity was on its own chain. I don't know if anything else was really on the Ronin network, but it was just Axie Infinity, and that's where the hack kind of surfaced. Do we have anything to worry about? What do you think, Vedamore?
So, to my knowledge, I did a bit of research on this. It is entirely like a hack based on the Ronin chain. I believe they have like 9 different wallets of the overall multi-sig wallet that controls it, and they managed to get a hold of like 4 of them, and then through social engineering managed to somehow get the 5th, and then hack it to make some kind of exploit. But as you said, like, it is just a hack of Ronin. It is its own chain that they've created like just for this. I listened to Santiago's podcast on this. He was sort of like, it's actually kind of mad that this ever happened or could have ever happened, because this is something that they definitely should have had eyes on. Apparently it actually took them like 8 days to even realize it actually happened, when somebody tried to withdraw like 5,000 of their ETH and they just weren't there to have to be able to take them, because they'd been already like exploited. So, but the point I'm making is I don't particularly think that this is exactly something that could happen in Illuvium, just because we don't have our own chain. We are using Immutable X. As for, is Immutable X safe? That's obviously an alternate question that potentially could be asked. And I definitely think that they should be looking at things like this situation with Axie, and you know, preparing against such things, and you know, making sure that they're safe overall.
So I think Alluvium has been clear, especially in the dev blog recently, that they've got a major focus on security at the moment. And they've actually come out and said that, look, our focus on security is really what's slowing us down, as security usually does. But can you tell us a bit more about that, Kyle? You probably have more insight on the Illuvium security setups than most of us.
Well, I mean, obviously with the liquidity pool situation, you know, obviously they're upgrading their smart contracts. So I think there's going to be less to worry about. Exactly what Vedamore said as well. It's like, you know, Illuvium doesn't have their own chain to worry about. So that's like less of an issue. And as far as the user is concerned, you know, like you, the end user, it's always good to have best practice in your security. Like, for instance, you always want to be using a hardware wallet, which this is Ledger, and they actually just came out with their cool new Ledger Nano S Plus recently. This is not a Plus, or a Nano S Plus, but they did. Is that one? Is that a new one?
That's just an S. Nah.
Matt, you have a cover on that. Is that a cover? I didn't know you could get those.
No, it's just blue. You can get different colors. Pretty cool.
Really? Okay.
Only on the S, not the X.
There's like a pink one.
Yeah, so I have a S and a X, but I didn't know you could do that. Anyways, yeah, it's like best case practices, you know, not signing weird smart contracts, not interacting. Like, you can also disconnect from those like websites. You can also use Etherscan to disconnect from smart contracts. Revoke.cash, which none of this is actual advice. This is just opinion only. So don't anybody just go run out there and, like, you know, use a weird website that Kyle said to use. But anyways, it's just like doing best practices and keeping your accounts safe. You know, obviously not sharing your private keys, and, you know, sometimes you might have to have like a wallet that nobody knows about, and securing your private keys safely. So as long as the end user is doing their due diligence and being smart and not just like sharing for their private keys to the internet, you know, something silly like that, I think we're absolutely fine. And what Vedamore was saying earlier about Immutable X, since it is built on the Ethereum network, it is looked at as a secure blockchain because it's using that Ethereum, the decentralized Ethereum blockchain, which is obviously the most, I believe it is the most decentralized blockchain in the space, which is cool for Alluvium because that means, you know, things built on Immutable X is going to utilize that same security of the Ethereum blockchain. And they use ZK snarks and ZK volition rollups and all that like jargon that, you know, I don't want to, yeah, it's like you have to learn a whole new like terminology when you get to Immutable X. But yeah, so it's in a nutshell, it's pretty secure, but I think as an end user, it's always good to use best practice and not, you know, do weird stuff on the internet.
Could I comment on that real quick?
Yeah.
So just technically, Ronin is also built on, you know, Ethereum blockchain. It's like a layer 2 of Ethereum. The only reason this hack even happened isn't even because of technically like actual like they were hacked in a like kind of breach kind of way. It's just they obviously didn't secure their actual own seed phrases of wallets that managed the actual chain, which is like, it's actually nuts that it ever happened, this hack, really, because it's like $600 million, which is ridiculous amount of reimbursement.
all they
So
have
that's
left.
not a blockchain hack. That's
No.
like Vetemore said is a private keys hack. So completely two different things. Whereas like what we've noticed with other layer twos that are built on other blockchains, or even layer ones that are supposed to be competitors to Ethereum, they've actually been hacked, their actual blockchain or their smart contract. So this is like way different from a smart contract exploit versus, they somehow managed to get the actual hack of a private key. So
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of these things where one member gets exploited or scammed or whatever else, and then they lose some access. And this more often happens with Discords and things. They make announcements and stuff like that, and things go to crap. But like even with multi-sig wallets, it would take so much effort to be able to get all that access. But I reckon the Axie team never really set it up that well. Najaif, do you think? I hope I pronounced that right, by the way. Do you
Yeah.
think Illuvium is much better set up with the way they've set up their multi-sig wallet, whereas they have a lot of like really high up people? Like you have to hack Aaron, you have to like trick Aaron to be able to get access to any Illuvium contracts.
Yeah, so I've been in Axie for over a year now, and I've been paying attention to Alluvium pretty much since it first came out. What I've learned is that Axie, not just in security, but even in, for like gameplay service or anything like that, they're more reactive, where Alluvium seems to be more proactive with things. And yes, there was a hack to the SILV, but you can just see that Alluvium is taking the time to learn from others' mistakes to try to prevent those in the future. Where Axie, it seems like, they wait, even like I said with the game servers, they wait until the game servers are overloaded before they need to shut things down and upgrade them. Where it looks like Alluvium is doing everything they can now to prevent those things from happening in the future. So I feel a lot more safe in Alluvium than I do in Axie, even though Axie is, 4 years old at this point, and Alluvium is, just over a year.
Yeah, I think it should be noted that, as Vetemore said, Axie took 8 days to notice or whatever. With the SILV2 stuff, I think Alluvium picked it up in like 10 minutes or whatever it was. I think they probably have the fastest reaction time out of any project in crypto. Maybe it was partly a fluke. I mean, obviously someone had to be awake to figure it out maybe, but they definitely managed it well, and they've done that with every issue they've ever had that I've seen. So they're definitely really quick onto it, and really they understand all the technology and everything really well, which is something you can't say for a lot of the projects out there. So with that said, we should move on to the Alluvium gameplay. We've all been watching the leaks. They've been all over the place. Grant, Kieran streaming in the Discord. I think a few others have been streaming. Johnny A and Dick Kings and not Arash. I don't think Arash has been streaming, but there have been a lot of people in the Discord on the game in the private beta. But the private beta isn't quite out yet that we know of. It feels like some sort of conspiracy theory.
I just want to show you like who you're going to have to hack in order to get ILV stuff. Like, I don't know if you want to bring that screen on. I don't know if it will show.
Yeah, your thing's glitching a bit.
Yeah, this is a live shot of Aaron right here, the Brainiac. So good luck with that. So that's
very nice. Yeah. So there's a lot to protect them. So there is so much survival mode gameplay like in the works. I'm just gonna ask the question, kind of like when land, but I'm more saying like when is this roadmap kicking off? I made a video about it recently, but I want to hear you guys' thoughts on when do you think things are going to kick off? Let's start with you, Kyle.
Me, I plead the fifth, which in America that means no comment. No.
All right, that's basically fair. Comments from the other two then. I'm gonna let's go to Najaif then. Najaif, when do you think the survival mode, like the demos and stuff, might start to kick out for everyone in the public?
I actually think, Bitcoin and the crypto markets play a big factor in this. And not to say that the Alluvium team has been, holding things off, but I do think the fact that Bitcoin and the crypto market has been down they might, be taking their time a little bit more, because I just truly believe if Bitcoin never took that big dip in January and kept going up, there would have been a lot more incentive for Illuvium to be, pushing out the land sale, Illuvatars, in the game while everyone's hyped in the market. Right now, there's a lot of people in crypto just out of the space and not paying attention. So launching anything now, is great for all of us who are in it every day, but there's a lot less eyes on it right now. So I think it already looks like Bitcoin and the crypto market is on its way back up. And I think that's going to be the perfect time to release these things. So again, I don't think the team's necessarily timing it with that, but it makes sense to release these things when there's more hype in the market.
Yeah, I think definitely timing as much as you can with the next leg of the bull run would be powerful, but we don't know if and when that is going to happen, considering the past couple of days of action. What do you think, Vedamore?
Yeah, so personally, I don't think it is too much to do with like timing the market. Obviously, they should, if they can, do certain sales and things alongside, big events in just like crypto cycles, if they can, just luckily get in on that. But, obviously land's just been delayed because staking had to go live. And then at this point, I personally don't see what is holding land back. So I'm hoping that we do get land this month. I personally would like to see it this month. If we don't, I'll be a bit disappointed. Like at least like in the first week of April, I really want to see it. And then as for Illuvatars, I kind of want to see Illuvatars. There's no need to have it straight after land. I think it's better to wait for that to be maybe like a week or like 10 days before the pre-open beta, just for like marketing reasons. Because in the pre-open beta, I'm guessing you'd be able to use your Illuvatars as like your avatar. I don't know why they wouldn't like have that utility involved there. And like, when is pre-open beta coming out? I would love to see it in April. I don't know if it is going to be in April. If it is in early June, I think that's totally good. And I just can't wait for us to all get our hands on it and just like have fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. And I think I just want to help. I think if there are any issues in the game or anything, I definitely want to give my feedback to the Illuvium team. But look, honestly, it looks already really, really polished. I guess kind of what we're looking at now is the more people get into it, the more leaderboards, flexing and stuff we can do, right? I'd love to compete with all you guys here, everyone in the community. The community is so friendly and tight-knit at this point that being able to compete with them on that level would be an absolute blast. And I'm really excited for when that starts to happen. And it's just, everything's very busy right now in the overall crypto market. So there's a lot going on. So I don't think we need it straight away, but I definitely hope in April we get something, whether it's just knowledge that the private beta has begun. That would be enough for me, to be honest. So I'm definitely hoping that it does start to kick off soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to some YouTube competitions and to challenging you guys on stream. I think that'd be fun for the whole community.
So the next thing we're going to discuss is Seaton has made a proposal that Vedamore brought to me. And I think this is a really interesting topic to talk about. And we'll definitely expand on it really far because it runs really deep into a lot of different topics. But Vedamore, did you want to kick us off and kind of talk about what this proposal looks like and why we might be for or against it, I suppose?
Yeah, definitely. So the way I'm going to speak about it is the way that I've edited it, not the way that it was originally suggested, because I have made changes to it and refinements. So the proposal being it's essentially a marketing proposal. So once the pre-open beta comes out, there's no particular reason why we couldn't have, let's say, 1 week of early access for that pre-open beta with during that 1 week of early access. Obviously, like if there is any like yield or any kind of bonuses that would have been earned, like you wouldn't be able to earn those because otherwise it's giving you some kind of an advantage, which we obviously in Alluvium don't want to do. But just basically giving that early access to all holders of ILV, all people like staked in ILV, like maybe anyone that has a like over 1 ILV, like it gets access to that. And they'd like obviously announce this beforehand, so people that aren't in that would have an incentive to then buy an ILV. Second part of this is potentially also allowing like different crypto projects in as well. So all the holders of Bored Ape Yacht Club, for example, or all the holders of like the Doodles or like CryptoPunks, as a way of marketing it to these like just huge NFT projects in the space. Alongside giving an exclusive bonus to ILV holders and giving them that early access. And then once people get in on that early access, that's going to just generate like increased hype, as well as, you know, giving that like unique access to those huge NFT holders to attract them to invest into ILV and actually play our game. Because we don't just want whales investing, we want them to play and really like what we expect and know and envision is that once people play, that's when the light bulb clicks, and that's when everyone just gets it and sees what we're seeing and why we're here.
Hashtag Neo Tokyo. I want to show Neo Tokyo for a second, and ETH Lizards too. Two really good gaming projects. But yeah, for real, Neo Tokyo has phase banks, and so that would be pretty big. But yeah, that's all I got to say on that.
So what do you think, Kyle? Do you think this would be beneficial for Illuvium? Do you think it would work?
That's up to the council to decide.
No, I mean, you can give your opinion as well. You're still part of the community.
You know, I think there's a balance there. So I think that, you know, you do have to take care of the community first and make sure, you know, they get in there and get excited, you know, first and foremost. And then you got your marketing, which I think is beneficial for sure. Yeah. If you can get, as Vedamore said, some whales excited about it and really interested in playing the game, then you create a nice synergy, if you will, nice composite, pun intended. But anyways, no, but for real, yeah, I think that's a good strategy for sure. Yeah.
What do you think, Najaf? Do you think we should be giving early access to people that hold, say, 1 ILV or something like that?
I'm a little torn on it, to be honest with you. Like, as you know, I'm big into like scholarships for other games, and I'm hoping to run some scholarships for Alluvium. And I just know that there's a big portion of this world that can't afford 1 ILV. And Alluvium's always, you know, preached the fact that no one's going to have an advantage. Everyone's going to be in a fair playing field. And I think that just eliminates so many people from getting that access. So I do see the benefits from a marketing standpoint, you know, getting more money into the system. And I don't think it'll be a bad thing in any way, but I can just see it from the other side where it's going to leave a lot of people out, even if it's just for that week or two. And you don't really want to push people away from this community. You want everyone to feel like they're in it together and they're getting the same starting point. So I wouldn't complain if it went through, but I can see it from both sides, you know?
Yeah, I think I have very similar problems as you to what they're proposing. My alternative would be they just need to have ILV in their wallet. I don't think there needs to be any threshold at all, because with just having a small amount of ILV or any amount of ILV, it leaves me with two things. Firstly, it promotes them learning what ILV is all about and what it means to hold ILV. And it also almost forces them to learn MetaMask and to learn crypto, because the tricky thing you have is you're going to have all these free-to-play players come in where they don't really get involved with crypto wallets, and they could run into a lot of problems down the road because of that. So this would almost force them to learn how to get Ethereum, how to put ILV in their wallet. And it would be you'd be only looking for $50 maybe tops for them to get set up so they get access to this early access thing. And I think that would be a really good way to give people an entry into crypto without gating them with $500, which I think, as Najaf said, would price out 99% of the current Illuvium community. And that's the last thing we want. What do you reckon, Vedamore?
I honestly reckon that pricing out everyone that can't afford it is great, because as weird as that sounds, what it does is they're not just going to be like, oh, they don't care about us during that week. They're just going to be hyped. And then a week later they get in, and it's not, I agree that giving this 1 week of early experience, you get extra experience for another week playing the game. You've got a competitive advantage. And if the full game's coming out like a few weeks after that, like, sure. But it's going to be months after that, as far as I can tell. So it's a week over the course of months of pre-open beta, where like it's just a little bit of extra time. And if somebody can't afford 500, 600, 700 bucks, they're probably not going to be willing to pay 50 bucks. Because it's still so then there's no point of creating wherever you draw the line, it's somewhat arbitrary, and drawing the line at 1 ETH just feels like a nicer place to draw the line, and it makes it feel more valuable to have that early access. I'm definitely not arguing for this early access to be more than a week. I think more than a week is too much, but I think a week is just a nice way to reward absolutely everyone in the space. I obviously am in no way arguing that when the full game comes out that anyone should get early access to that. That would be against everything. The Illuvium ethos is all about a fair, equal start and no one getting whitelisted for anything. This is the closest thing, and I don't think it breaks that boundary, because it's no one's getting any extra yield for it or earning extra money. There's no financial advantage that anyone's gaining, or any NFT advantage or anything.
Yeah. I mean, there's no advantage, but you don't want to push anyone out. If you're like someone that's kind of been in the Discord for 8 months and have no money, you'd be like, oh, this sucks. Obviously, if you've been in there 8 months, you're going to wait another week. So that's probably not the right person we're talking about here, but you don't want to like boot out so much of your community from this. And if they get upset, they might leave forever. I mean, I'm not saying they will, but that's just kind of the vision I'm trying to see here. But I think you're right. The way you put it, you're right. The line of the sand
than it loses.
Yeah, I think you're right. The line in the sand is kind of arbitrary, but I definitely like the side of bringing in people like Basie and things like that, but they're not necessarily gamers, so that might not be the right community to target in this case, but there are certainly communities out there you want to reach out to. What communities do you think, Kyle, you're a lot more into NFTs than I am.
Yeah.
Is there anything that crosses your mind?
Well, you never know with Basie. I mean, if Justin Bieber just starts playing Alluvium, then all of a sudden everything's going to go to the moon, and that's not a bad thing. If you're playing the game and you're catching alluvials and you want to go list it, and somebody might buy it because there's all this extra liquidity. So it is a win-win situation, even if you are a user and maybe you're not a whale. And I mean, most people aren't whales anyways. So but it is good you want whales in the ecosystem, and you want people that are buying and adding liquidity, because they will buy your alluvials if you decide to sell them. So you definitely want the best of both worlds in a project, and it's always good to have both in mind. So it's not just one or the other. It's more like peanut butter and jelly, and you smush it together and you get the best of both worlds. So that's kind of how I view it. But yeah, like projects like Neo Tokyo, ETH Lizards, and I'm sure there's other, projects popping up or out there, that have their own NFT project. I think those are definitely good ones, because they do have whales, but they also have whales that understand gaming, and they understand, like, they're excited about it, and they'll build like orgs around it. And you want that in an ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely. There's just so much, like, and I always underestimated kind of the power whales can have until ETH Lizards. I didn't expect it. Let's put it that way. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about before we jump into a minor Q&A at the end is I want to speculate on future utility for Illuvium Land. Now, being content creators, I'm sure you guys get as many questions as I do about Illuvium Land, what's coming, is it worth it, so on and so forth. I want to subside the financial side a little bit and I want to focus more on the sort of utility we might see come. Recently, we did find out in the blog, I believe it was, that landmarks boost a specific element of fuel and its production on the land site. We didn't really know that beforehand. So I'm looking for things like that. So Najay, if you want to kick us off, do you have any ideas of the sort of utility that might be added down the road?
So I actually had some fun thinking about this earlier. And I know everyone knows what Clash of Clans is, right? And I know it's been talked about before about having some kind of Clash of Clans style, thing going on with the Illuvium Land. But what if a landowner could team up with a non-NFT landowner where they could earn a little yield? Like, say you have an NFT land and you could invite 5 or 10 non-NFT landowners to help defend your fort or to go into somebody else's land. And it'll give incentive for the non-NFT lands to play the game and build up theirs. And then you could say, if you invite them to your land, like, you'll get 5% of this raid when we go to another person's land. So then you're giving some utility to the non-NFT land, and then you could just, you'll have a lot more people playing it that way. And that's just something I thought of real quick, but because you're only going to have 20,000 plots of land, and then that might only go between 10,000 people to start. And even if you're at max, there's 100,000 plots of land, but you could get millions of people playing, the free version if they had some utility to it.
Yeah, no, I really like that. You're kind of like paying them like a bodyguard. If they protect your land and they're successful, then they get a small cut of everything they protected, or they get a small cut of your raids and things like that. I think you're right. It is gated at 100,000 people, and if we can find ways of allowing more to get in and not necessarily earn, I don't want to price out people that bought land so that you can earn for free or whatever, but definitely giving them a way to get involved and have fun in their own way or with other ways or whatever like that. Maybe they do earn a little bit and it's not nearly as much, but just a way to get them involved, I think, is a really, really cool concept. Do you have anything else that you'd like to see, Venomore?
Like specifically on land?
Yeah, just like land utility and ways that they can upgrade the game in the future. It's just a fun topic.
I mean, I think Najafe raises a great point. Like, it would just be great if, even as a free-to-play game, it's just a fun-to-play game, and like just other games out there that you're not earning any money to play them on the phone, but you're just grinding every day to earn literally just like in-game money that isn't actually like worth anything, but also just like creative ways to make it more engaging sound like a big brain idea to me. We don't need to forget about land and just focus on the main game, because it is our first game that's accessible on mobile, and mobile is insanely huge as a market. As for like specific ideas that I have, like, I don't have that many, because if I have them, I'd have said them already, and so yeah, no specific ideas.
What do you reckon, Carl? Do you have any ideas on how we can improve land in the future?
Yeah, I mean, like Lori said in chat, like Kieran alluded on Paul Barron, lots of utilities for land in the future. So I think that would be cool, and I believe he also said it on Vulcan's channel as well. Or was that, yeah, I think, or no, it was Andrew that said it on his. So I think that would be interesting, that in itself is a utility, even if it's future and we don't know what those utilities are. I think that would be amazing, especially if you're looking to, because a landowner, it's like you attract a lot of people that are in that investing mindset, and that's okay. And because they're going to be looking towards the future anyways, and that's perfectly fine. And then you have your gamers that may do both, and that's cool too. Or people that just focus on the game. So either way you split it, I think it's very exciting no matter what. What I like about land is it's already set up and ready to go. Like, Alluvium already has the game built. Like, if you look at other platforms, like all the other land sales you see out there, which I see a lot, like like I'm in, you know, obviously in these communities, and I'm seeing like pitches every day. Like I'm seeing games pop up every day in the space, and there's no game. Like if you buy this land, you're waiting 2 to 3 years, like minimum, you know, because they're gonna have to go hire developers. They're gonna go have to, you know what I mean? So like with Illuvium, it is quite different. And anyways, bullish on land. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's so much to do still, and anyone who is looking at land as a potential investment, it's more of a game, and that's what Alluvium wants it to be about. Obviously, not financial advice, but there's definitely so much coming down the road. I think what I would like to see is eventually, and I know they've talked about doing this, but eventually the possibility to go to your land and walk around and things like that, because they are going to have some really cool aesthetic features, and being able to involve with that could be really fun. Because I'm imagining this VV-verse world where you've got all your Alluvium stuff that you've stockpiled in the years, and then eventually in 5-10 years or whatever, you put on your VR headset and then you go and walk around your land and you go like, look, I've built this, I've got this statue that's like 1 out of 5 because I won some tournament. I'm going to walk around it, have a look at it, maybe invite some people to come and share that experience with me. And there's just so much they can put on the land. I'm not saying that's around the corner, but it would be pretty cool. And then you extend on that. And if you do start having Clash of Clans features,
party in Kieran's land.
yeah, exactly. If you start having Clash of Clan type features where you're going, you're battling other people and stuff, it'd be pretty cool to walk around your land and even help defend it during a battle. Like you're imagining like hordes of alluvials attacking you because maybe that's the units of the game or whatever, and you're like walking around, whether it's in VR or otherwise, and you're trying to take them out while they're attacking your land, trying to steal your resources. I think some resource stealing mechanics are going to be really hard to find a balance, but I definitely think they're possible.
Yeah, that made me have a World of Warcraft flashback where the guy yells Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, definitely. I would jump outside of the walls and just like try and be a hero every single time. Before we jump into the Q&A, I hope you guys liked my little rant there. Before we jump into the Q&A, is there anything else you guys like to talk about?
No, I saw Robbie from Immutable X tweet yesterday. Like, hello, that's exciting. Like, he tweeted, what did you guys see that? Like, it was just he just retweeted Alluvium's tweet and it was like,
okay.
I don't know what he said. I think he just had a heart or something simple, but it was like, that's the co-founder of Immutable X. So that was really cool. And I can't remember if it was Sear who he retweeted, but or what alluvial that was, but he retweeted it, so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, a lot of the leaks have been getting pretty crazy. At this point, I'm just nervous that they're going to leak too much. But I think we're far beyond that point, aren't we?
Something I've actually, I don't think I've mentioned is I was recently talking to Guild of Guardians community manager, and obviously they're building on Immutable X as well, and he was like why is nobody talking about the fact that Riot Games just invested in Immutable X like tons of money, not into its like token, but into their like almost seed round of their stocks, because their stock isn't public yet, and like that's actually quite mad. What like Riot Games could well be also in line to adopt like crypto gaming through Immutable X. Immutable X is making moves.
Yeah, I totally agree with that for sure. Like if they're gonna maybe not join the space immediately, they're gonna try to at least get a little sliver of that pie.
Yeah.
You know, like with all the success on IMX, they're seeing games like Alluvium. They're like, oh my gosh, like I can't miss out on this. So let's invest in that seed round real quick. And then, you know, we'll pivot several years from now. And then hopefully the sentiment's better, you know, for their brand, because they're, you know, traditional gaming. So they do have to be careful with their brand. But with Alluvium, it's homegrown. So yeah.
Yeah, the only thing is I don't think Immutable X has any major games sitting on it yet. There might be something that I'm missing, but I think Gods Unchained might be on there, but that's really it. So I'm hoping that they can handle the load. But they have been building for quite some time in the space now. So I'm confident that they'll do a good job, but we'll just have to see how it plays out. So we do have a few questions kind of popping around now. N Aroz Y Habituales, I definitely did not pronounce that right, is wondering if we could give him tips on where we are buying land. So I think what he means by that is I'm going to be aiming for pretty much smack in the middle of the sale. I think it goes over 3 days, or it might be 2 days. I always get mixed up. But if it's 3 days, I say in the second day, and I'm going to be aiming for like, I think 20 or 30 minutes in is where you're hitting start of that 50 to 70% of the original price range. I think that's where I'm going to be like trying to focus my mindset a bit. What do you think, Najaf? Where might you be buying land?
So my thought is exactly the way you're thinking right now. The problem becomes if everyone starts thinking that way, because I think it's over 3 days. I don't want to get in on the first day because you're going to have everyone just, FOMOing in at the beginning and just buying up land because they want it regardless of the price. But you also don't want to wait till the third day, because then anyone who didn't get that land, again, is going to start FOMOing in to make sure they get a plot. So day 2, I think, is the best time to look. But again, if you're thinking that way and I'm thinking that way and we're all thinking that way, who knows? Maybe day 2 isn't the best one to go after.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. If everyone starts thinking the same thing, then it all changes really quickly. That's very prevalent in crypto markets. Let's put it that way. Where are you guys buying land? What about you, Vedamore?
Well, shucks, I'm reconsidering my strategy now. So what I was planning to do is definitely not buy in the first 5 hours. 5 hours, I'm going to sit there, stare, and just write down numbers on the averages at where it's selling. And if some of those prices are prices I'm willing to pay, maybe I'll dollar cost. Like if I want to buy, say, 5 plots of land, maybe that's a great opportunity to buy the first one. Just buy one and then maybe wait another 12 hours, maybe scope out some opportunities. And I'm not going to buy them all at once because there is going to be fluctuation throughout, and maybe day 2, it does go a bunch lower and I can get in even lower. I'll keep my eyes open, but I do not want to have the land sale also end and me not have the amount of land I wanted to get. So I'd rather almost buy it at a slightly higher price and know I've got it. And then if there's some just super cheap land I managed to see, I'll maybe scoop an extra one. We'll see how that goes.
What about you, Kyle? What's your plan?
Yeah, I'm not gonna basically strategize around what the market's doing a little bit, because there is a macro that plays into it. And when you're looking at Alluvium Land, there's going to be, big ETH whales looking at that too. So I'll definitely be paying attention closely to the macro a little bit to decide where I'm going to enter. And I may just see, because a lot of those whales, they'll like to just wait and see, like Vedamore's kind of doing. Is just what they do is they literally look at volume, kind of see what's going on first. If they don't really see anything significant, they'll just enter without problem. But with this Dutch style, they're probably gonna, I'm assuming, somewhere in the middle. And so yeah, second day, I don't know, we'll see. So it's kind of like a play by ear. Keep your ear to the ground and see where things are at. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to tell you exactly my strategy. So we'll just keep it generic.
The other side of this is trying to snipe whales. If you're seeing a 9x9 is going to be sold during this thing, but it's one plot at a time that's kind of being sold, and you see one wallet buy 4 of them, I'm buying that 5th one at the top price.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Sniping the whales and trying to harpoon them, so to speak, could prove a valuable strategy, but mega cities won't come out with utility instantly. So it might not really work in the long run. It's definitely a risk you'll have to play.
I think I recently, I also thought that would be a good strategy. And I think somewhere someone said that they will also be selling lots of 9 or lots of 4 that make a square or something. So I'm not sure if that is happening or not, but I have heard that might be a thing. So maybe they'll just buy their cubes all in one go. Also, he's asking do you think tier 1s will sell quickly? I think when it comes to demand for tiers, a lot, like the majority of people I speak to are all like, I just want to buy loads of tier ones or like a bunch of tier twos. But like a lot of people are gravitating towards tier ones, so they might end up being at a higher price compared to like their starting price than a lot of the other tiers. Because when it comes to resale value later on, if you are interested in flipping land, then tier ones will be easier to flip because they're cheaper. It's hard to spend 40 ETH on something and then flip it for 100 ETH. It's a lot easier to spend, you know, half an ETH and flip it for, I don't know, 5 or 10.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's you're definitely going to have to play it and just wait till the thing starts. As Venomore was saying before, none of us really have the answer, but what is most important is you don't FOMO, right? There will be lots of chances to buy land at lots of different prices. Don't go in the first 5 minutes and buy up as much as you can, right? Just take your time. I'm sure we'll all be making lots of content. I know I definitely will be. And yeah, we'll definitely try and help you out as much as we can as well. And you'll be in the Discord as well, and they'll all be helping you out as well.
Yeah.
So
Another thing to consider quickly is that this is just 1/5 of the total amount of land. So if you are priced out and you don't get in on this land sale, there's another one coming. And I know we all want to get in early and, you know, get in there at the beginning, but this isn't the only opportunity. There will be future opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. So Godson is making up a tier list video soon, he says in the chat. And he wants to know which alluvial is God tier. I think we should extend on that since we talked about the leaks a little bit. But based on all the leaks and things, what alluvials are we thinking look really cool or really powerful and things like that? I think, why don't you start, Kyle?
Like what looks God tier?
Yeah, what looks strong in the game? I'm sure you've seen it.
I mean, obviously, like Ramfire. Yeah.
He does certainly look good. He seems to have one of the biggest area of effect attacks out of all of the lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, just your obvious ones that we've already seen. So, yeah.
What do you think, Vedamore?
So I do like the big rhino one. I couldn't give you a name. I'm Titanor. That's the one. But also, I don't know what is God tier. I think some of the cute little ones might be God tier just because of where you play. I think everything's God tier if you use it appropriately. Maybe like some things seem less useful in a meta. But the other thing is like when you get used to like a specific 5 that you think are God tier, suddenly you've got a predictable strategy that I can game. So I don't know. Just you gotta stay on your toes.
Yeah, Titanor looks really clean. That's one of my favorites too.
What do you have, Najaf?
So my favorite one so far is Malura. So I'm really hoping that comes out to be a really good tanky figure or alluvial there. But I think it's one of the, I'm not good with all the names yet, one of the snail ones that when I had a call with Grant, he was using that a lot because it would, he said you could target the furthest alluvial with it. Like, you know, he was calling it like the sniper there. So you can, if you see an alluvial that your opponent's hiding in the back, you can set up that alluvial to target it from across the board. And I just think that's going to be something that's used a lot, and I think it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many mechanics that we do not have the time to cover them all today. Maybe that's for its own stream. I'm going to say Scoriox, but he's gotten no love yet. But it's really hard to see it at the moment, as you guys were saying, because we've only got, I mean, I'd say there's maybe 50 that's inside that demo, right? Maybe 50 at most. And they don't actually cover all these synergies or affinities either. So you can only make a couple of compositions of sorts. You can only make like a fire or a water. They kind of have a lot of stuff, so you can build something there. And they're missing a lot of stuff as well. So I definitely think we've got a lot to see before making these sorts of judgments, like Venomore said. All right, I'm going to look for one more question. With 20 SILV2, you can buy estimated 2 T2, 1 T1, or 15. Oh, wait. I don't even know what that's saying. How much SILV2 do you think it might take to get a T1 or a T2? Are you guys stacking it up religiously? I have a theory that the whales are going to pump up ILV right before the land sale to pump their SILV2 bags temporarily because they have the means to. There's not much more reason I'm putting on that. What do you guys think?
I certainly hope they do that because that would benefit us all. As for like, I'm not like trying to buy a specific amount of SILV. It's just like, do I have Ethereum? Yes, buy SILV. That's the logic. I don't know exactly how much any land's gonna cost, and no one does because the original proposal, like that's gonna be updated based on the prices of ETH, how much SILV is in circulation at the time. So we may be seeing higher land prices than what was initially suggested, but we'll have to see, subject to council approval.
Yeah, I've seen Kieran say at one point that they're looking at about 2.5 times the original proposal. And I was just doing some math recently, actually. And I estimated that a starting price for a tier 2, which is what I'm looking at, would probably be around 15 SILV2. And they probably won't sell that high. It'll probably go down a little bit. But I'm not, for whoever's asking that question, I'm not sure 20 SILV2 will be enough for two land plots. But I mean, it could be.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to say, and I'm actually leaving some of my buys until we know more about the pricing. But the hard thing is, as soon as we learn more about the pricing, that SRV2 pool is going to be so volatile. It's going to be really hard to catch anything. What do you reckon, Kyle? Which land are you going for?
Yeah, so I think I might do like a tier 2, tier 3. So I don't know. We'll have to see where the chips may fall. And like you said, what the price is going to be. So.
All right. Well, I've got to get to work soon, so we better start wrapping it up. I just want to say a big thanks to everyone for jumping on the stream with me. In future, this stream might actually be on other channels and things like that. I know Kyle has been interested in hosting the stream over there as well. So we'll definitely look at that for the future as well. If you guys are wondering anything about that and kind of where you can catch it next, I'll definitely let you guys know. So don't stress about that. Anyways, a big thanks to everyone for joining me here. Today, it's been an awesome discussion. We've covered so many good topics. We're definitely going to be having more of these in the future. So don't forget to leave a comment down below and like the video so that we can see some more topics for future episodes. I'll definitely go and read all those comments as well. So yeah, thanks for jumping on the channel with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Cheers. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure, bro. Happy to jump on in future.
Chat, thank you too. I don't know why I pointed that way or that way. Wherever
somewhere.
Chat's right there.
Probably that way.
Yeah.
All right. See ya, community.